Hey, Jay here, EscobarJ.com. This video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be how to think positive in negative situations. And I'm going to make this a bit of a longer series. I'm going to make this a little mini series. Let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 7-part video series. And I just want to share some of my thought processes and some of my thought processes as to this specific time in my life. I'm currently going through the hardest, most difficult, negative experience I've ever had to go through in my own life, the last 3 years. And I just want to share with you, I'm not going to get into specifics about it, but I just want to share with you my thought process behind what's helped me specifically with how to think positive in negative situations and what you can do, how you can follow the same steps and same path to help you get through whatever obstacles come to your life, no matter how difficult. And I'm going to start this off with my first point. There's 7 principles or things, 7 points that I'm going to share with you over the course of the next 7 videos. And when you're going through negative situations, it's very easy to slip into a victim's mentality. It's very, very easy and often feels good to blame others, to point the finger at somebody else, to victimize yourself. It's the path of least resistance. But I'm here to tell you that the path of least resistance is not always the path that you should go down. In fact, I would argue that it's rarely ever the path that you should go down, that you should choose the harder path. And I think once you see my 7 points in the next 7 videos, you'll see exactly what I mean. So in today's video, I want to share with you the first step in how to get through and how to think positively in negative situations when they're coming at you. And just to share a little bit of brief background, the reason why the last 3 years have been the most treacherous and negative and difficult in my own life, I'm going to touch on a few things. Lost my house, lost a car, lost jobs, lost opportunities, had to move in with a parent, loss of relationships, and when these things happen to you, it seems like when it rains, it pours. It's like they all happen at one time or consecutively, and it feels like you can never get a break. And it's easy to slip into that thought process. And then once you get into that thought process, it's a slippery slope. Very, very slippery slope. And I found out today that somebody very close to me, I basically lost somebody very close to me after all this is said and done. And there's quite a few other negatives that happened in between today and the last 3 years. But those are the main points. And the first step that I've come to the realization that has, in this process of me going through these negatives and these trials, and I'm not saying that any of these 7 points are easy. If you think that it's going to be easy, these easy fixes, no. These are very difficult things to do. But the first point is to first acknowledge the negative that's happening to you. And you want to acknowledge the negative, because if you don't acknowledge the negative, it's going to build up inside of you. If you push it down, if you stuff it down, I've done that in my life, mainly when I was a teenager. And I can tell you that leads down to lots more pain later. Emotional, mental, even physical pain later. It compounds, it builds, it gangs up on you when you don't acknowledge it and you ignore it. So for this video, that's all I want you to focus on. Acknowledging the negative. You can acknowledge that the situation sucks. I'm in a shitty situation right now. Flat out. It's awful. It's terrible. It sucks. It's hard. I don't want to go through it. And it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. When you feel like you got to take 10 steps backwards. And by acknowledging the negative, it allows me to free up my thoughts. It allows me to take accountability for what I did to create these negatives. And why would you want to do that? It's important to acknowledge the negative and then to take accountability, take responsibility, and take extreme ownership over the situation. I am here because of my choices. I am in this negative situation because of the choices, decisions, and things in my own life. And some of those things are out of my control. Some of those things happened to me. Some of those things were not a direct consequence of a decision that I made. A lot of these are negative, secondary, and tertiary consequences of decisions that I made. And ultimately, it is my fault that I'm here. And by taking accountability for the situation, you can now move forward to the next point. And since I've acknowledged the situation and have not necessarily accepted it, but we're going to get to that later. But just by acknowledging allows you to get it out of your brain, out of your heart, and get that negative energy out of your body. Because thoughts are things. If you let these thoughts dwell in your mind, they will grow like a nasty weed or a forest fire. By acknowledging and owning and taking accountability for the things that you've done to get yourself to this position, to this point, you can now take the next step in moving forward. And I'm going to cover that next step in the next video. So, this is step 1. This is my personal journey. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, a share, a like, a subscribe. And if you know somebody going through some negatives, Share this with them. Or not. It's all right. Just if you feel like it. Would help me out. So, that being said, I hope that you are always learning, always growing, always pushing forward. I like to say that in every one of my videos, but I mean it, especially when you're going through negative situations. So, that being said, I hope you're doing well. Hope you're prospering. Hope you're not going through what I'm going through. But if you are, take this video and apply it. All it takes is an acknowledgement and to think back to what you did wrong to get here. That's the first step.